Hi, I'm Chef Michael Reed, chef owner of Poppy and Rose in downtown LA and Poppy and Seat in Orange County and Anaheim. Today I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite comforting brunch dishes. My version of our shrimp and grits with a shellfish stock, a mushroom toast that's better than avocado toast, and our classic biscuit and gravy. So please subscribe and follow along. So I love making this dish for my beautiful wife. It's one of her favorite dishes. Her grandma used to make this dish for her when she was little, so it's now my turn to pick up that mantle. So in order to make this dish that we do a couple things. We get whole shrimp, we peel and devein them, we save the shrimp shells so we can make a shellfish stock that adds that beautiful seafood flavor on top of the grit sauce. So what you'll need to do is peel and devein your shrimp, and then we're gonna marinate our shrimp. Then we're gonna start our shellfish stock, and then once we got that stock running, we'll start working on making the grits. So what I'm gonna do first is gonna take a bowl with my clean and peeled and deveined shrimp, add those in. Today we're just gonna season that up with a little bit of smoked paprika and cayenne pepper, salt, black pepper, a little bit of olive oil, just to coat the shrimp. We're just gonna mix that up, just like that. Once you have that, you can set those aside and put those away in the fridge. So the next thing that we're gonna work on is the shellfish stock. So you have your shellfish shells, we have our onion, we got a leek, we got some thyme, some bigger pieces of fennel. I like to cut my vegetable going to stock at a bigger chunk, just so it's easier to strain it out at the end of the day. You got your carrots, your celery, your garlic. We got some coriander seeds here for you. So now that your pot is on medium to high heat, we're just gonna go ahead and add a little olive oil. We're gonna add a little bit of butter. We're gonna let that heat up a little bit hotter. Now that your pan is nice and hot and you got your oil and butter in there, we're gonna slowly add in the shrimp shells and all the other vegetables. So the key thing to this is not to go crazy. You wanna let it sit there on the bottom. Don't over stir it in the beginning, just let it sit so then it gets nice and caramelized, and then give it a nice stir in about another 5 minutes or so. So now that you got your shellfish stock started and it's just roasting off and getting nice and nutty, we're gonna go ahead and start heating up the milk and the liquid that you're gonna need for the grits. So we're gonna start with 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of chicken stock. So now that your milk and chicken stock, if you don't want chicken stock, you can always use water, has started to come up, we're gonna slowly incorporate our 1 cup of grits. I like to use Anson Mills white grits. It has a little bit more texture. It takes a little bit longer to cook, but definitely worth the time. So the thing about grits, people think is really complicated. It's not, just be patient, you know. It takes a little bit of time. Make sure you're stirring the bottom, making sure that it's not sticking. And the other thing, turn down your flame once the grits go in. You can see that a lot of that 2 cups of water and chicken stock have been absorbed by the grits. I'm gonna go ahead and season it right now with basically a little bit of kosher salt. But as you can see, there's no lumps, there's no grit. It's just nice, creamy, white grits. Best thing to do is just grab a spoon, give it a little taste. Salt is there. The texture is nice and creamy. Now all we gotta do is finish it by adding cheese and butter. I like to use aged white cheddar just because it has that nice sharpness to it that I'm looking for in this dish. Then we like to add Parmesan cheese. The Parmesan cheese just adds a little bit more depth to it and gives it a little more touch salty. And so once you get your grits to a certain texture and fully cooked, I like to just turn off the pan and just let the residual heat melt in the cheese. Then we're gonna go ahead and add about 4 tablespoons of butter. The butter's basically gonna just give you more silky texture to it and help it from not getting too thick as it starts to cool off. There you go. So now we're getting onto this final step. I'm gonna show you how we saute our shrimp. So I'm gonna start with a pan on medium to high heat. We're gonna add some oil. Then we're gonna take the shrimp and we're gonna go ahead and add those in. So once again, you just wanna let those shrimp sit on one side. Don't really stir them up too much. You wanna get them nice sear on one side and then we'll start flipping them over. Now while that's going, I'm gonna go ahead and add my shallots, my celery, and then we took our pimento peppers and we just diced them up. Smelling good. Now we're just gonna give it a little flip and flatten them back out. We're gonna add a little bit of wine. We're gonna add a bit of butter. And we're just gonna give it a quick stir. You're just gonna season it lightly with a little bit of salt, black pepper, and I like to give it a nice squeeze of fresh lemon juice just to bring out the brightness of the dish. That's it. And we're gonna show you how to plate the shrimp and grits. So now that your stock is simmered for about 45 minutes to 30 minutes, it's time to strain it. So you should have this nice orange yellow shellfish broth by the time you're done with it. So now we're gonna move on to plating. So I'm just gonna take a bowl. I'm gonna put a nice amount of the grits right in the middle and not too thick. If they do get a little thick, just remember, add water or chicken stock and bring them back up to temp. So now we're just gonna go ahead and add some shrimp. And we're gonna get in here and get into this pan sauce. You wanna get a nice little bit of that on each of your bowls. Now we take a little bit of spoonful of that shellfish broth that we made. And then for garnishes, you have a couple different options. So just the yellow parts of the inside of the celery. Always have green onions. And we'll just take a little bit of parsley. There you guys go. That's how we make our shrimp and grits. Hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe. Look forward to hear what you guys think about the dish. And then look forward to the next time we cook you a mushroom toast and the biscuit and gravy.